Imagine hearing that sound outside your home for nearly 4 years. We have more tonight on frustrated West End residents who've had to put up with honking TTC buses. We'll tell you more.
Well, Toronto's controversial speed cameras, they're back in the spotlight today with another study suggesting that the tools have reduced speeding by almost half. We're going to take a look at the numbers.
And CP24 is live at the Taste of Vietnam in Nathan Phillips Square. It's another scorcher out there. This looks fun. In terms of the weather, a heat warning still in place, but cooler temps are on the way. We'll get you ready for the weekend. Oh, Sija.
This is Live at 5. Good evening. I'm Bakari Savage.
And I'm Lena Latafat. Welcome to Live at 5. Thanks so much for joining us. A feature on TTC buses appears to be blame for noise that some people who live near Kipling Station say is driving them to distraction.
Okay, so for more on what's actually responsible for all the racket, let's go live to CP24's Arda Zakari. And Arda.
So I'm at Kipling Station right now. Let's actually play that sound for you so you know what I'm talking about.
Now, when you're sitting in bed on your day off, and this happens outside your window, it's very distracting, right? Like, you might be sitting there trying to enjoy a book, you might be sitting there on your phone, you might be watching TV, and then this starts happening, and it's as if there's nothing else you can focus on.
Okay, so just imagine this going on for 3, 4, 5 minutes. Why does this happen? Well, when buses idle here at Kipling Station, I guess it can happen anywhere, but it's happening here at Kipling Station, and the bus driver, let's say, goes to the washroom, leaves the bus is filled with people, and somebody requests a stop. Well, that triggers the honking of the horn, and it's only turned off when the bus driver comes back and turns it off manually themselves. So that is an issue here at Kipling Station. I've asked a couple of people here if they've heard it. They have said definitely they have multiple times, and it is not the most. Are we hearing the noise? Oh, somebody else honking. I thought it was the bus. Anyway, so it's definitely not a pleasant sound to hear, of course, but TTC does have a statement out about this. So they say, we apologize to neighbors for this inconvenience. This is a feature of the buses that's intended for safety. We are aware that sometimes they go off when we've been reminding operators about disarming the feature whenever possible to do so. We will continue to remind them to disable the alarms out of respect to the community. Now, I'm going to bring in a guest. Her name is Ingrid Bidet. She started the group No More Noise. She lives near the Gardiner Expressway, and she's also been experiencing different kinds of noises like cars backing up. So can you tell me about, hi Ingrid, thank you so much first of all for joining us. Can you tell me about what you've been experiencing and why you started the group No More Noise?
Well, thank you so much for having me, Arda. It's a pleasure to be here and to share the story. You know, I've been living in the same place for 12 years, and it was 4 years ago that I started to hear these backfiring of cars and the racing of engines and these awful noises coming from vehicles, and it was keeping me up at night and waking me up. And when you get woken up by unnecessary noise, whether that's a bus honk or a car or construction that's happening at night, you just get really angry. And I was like, am I the only one feeling this way? So I tweeted out at that point in time, and I learned that no, I'm not the only one. So that's why I created the group, to bring people like me together and to understand actually how bad the problem is in Toronto.
What has the response been like?
Massive. It's amazing. People come and they join our group and they're like, oh, there's actually people that understand what I'm going through. None of us have a defense from sound. It is biologically wired in us. It is the first sense that we develop, and it's the last one we lose. And so people feel traumatized. They get distracted. Their health is impacted. They have fatigue. They're annoyed. There's issues with partners. And people are just very thankful, because the other thing that we're doing is we're advocating for solutions. There are solutions to all of this, whether it's process redesign, better policy, better technology. There are solutions to all of this. This should not have to rely on a bus driver and the TTC reminding bus drivers to do that. We all forget things. So that needs to be designed a heck of a lot better.
What about where you live and the cars backfiring, for example? What's the solution for that?
Well, I'm so glad you asked. There's technology called noise cameras, and that basically is a video camera, a microphone, a decibel, a sound level meter, and in certain places like New York City, those cameras are actually recording the vehicles as they go by, and then if they're too loud, they are issuing tickets in New York City, and the tickets are holding up in court. There's a number of different manufacturers for that. There's also better enforcement, and that's the thing is No More Noise Toronto is working with the police to try and find solutions, because they can't ticket their way out of the problem. The problem is everywhere. Vehicle noise is the #1 noise source in my group, and traffic noise is the most ubiquitous everywhere around the world. So there are solutions, and technology keeps on getting better. So we're really looking forward to seeing the City of Toronto pick up on some of these.
We definitely live in a noisy city. Thank you so much for this, Ingrid. We appreciate your time. Ingrid Bidet is the founder of the group No More Noise. We're going to send it back to you guys in studio.
God, that is such an annoying sound. And they've got to, obviously figure that out with that TTC feature. Arda, thanks so much for this. Well, speaking of the TTC, a number of shutdowns and closures for TTC riders to deal with this weekend.
Service on line 1 between St. George and St. Andrew. It's going to end at 11 o'clock tonight. Shuttle buses will run, but the closure, that's going to remain in place through the weekend due to planned station work. But there's also a full-day closure tomorrow on line 2 between Kipling and Kill. And on Sunday, there's a late opening to be aware of with service between St. George and Broadview. That won't start until 11 a.m.
Well, muggy weather is continuing to grip the GTA as we head into what will be another busy weekend in the city.
And for more on some of the events that are happening around town, as well as the conditions that you're going to have to contend with, let's go live to CP24 Sija Liu, who, Sija, what are you wearing?
Well, I am wearing a traditional costume from Vietnam. It's actually from one of the last dynasties. This is what the Queen would have worn. And if you're wondering why the sleeves are so long, is because the Queen doesn't need to use her hands because she doesn't work. But it's okay. I'll take a break for today and work a bit so we can show you the taste of Vietnam. I have Kelly with me. She is the president of Better Future for Kids, which is the organization, the charity behind this event. Hey, Kelly, tell us about the reason why we have Taste of Vietnam. There is a bigger cause behind it all.
Totally. So the reason we have Taste of Vietnam is to help raise awareness against human trafficking and child exploitation, and also to share our culture to the world and invite friends of other cultures to join us. So that's why we call Taste of Vietnam Plus and Friends.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And as we're talking about the festival, let's take a walk around because there is a ton to see here. So we have the information booth over here, and then the big stage as well.
So over here we have our information booth. You can have a short kind of look on the mission trips that we do for the past 15 years. We have hands-on, and the funds that we raise from our charity festival goes to help victims of sex trafficking. So this is our information booth. Our talented balloon artist who makes the balloons for us to sell for the kids. Then you're going to see the lanterns. So in order to light up the awareness against human trafficking, we use a symbol of lanterns so that each of us are the light. And this is our Vietnamese lantern from Hoi An, which is the central of Vietnam. Vietnam has north, central, and south. So this would consider to be the central of Vietnam.
And then I also see the stage over there. We saw some models going up earlier. There's going to be a fashion show tonight.
Yep. Fashion show, cultural show, diversity. We have different communities performing at our show as well. So what you're seeing here is that we're trying to replicate the image of Sapa. So in the north, which is where I am wearing the costume, is from one of the 54 different ethnic groups, which is Hmong ethnic group. So the steps that you see here, they have beautiful terrace in the north of Vietnam, which is Sapa. So we're trying to recreate that kind of image of the terrace.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we also have to talk about the food as well, because it is
Totally.
Taste of Vietnam. I saw pho,
Yes.
bubble tea, street food. What can we expect here?
So you can expect food that you won't see at stores. Some of our vendors are like, I taste their food. I'm like, do you have a store that I can eat this again? They say, no, I'm doing this once a year at Taste Vietnam, so if you don't go there, you're not gonna have it. So
Wow.
some of the vendors that you see here, we have the premium banh mi. We have
Street food there
street
as
food,
well.
drinks, and then a lot of healthy food. Vietnamese food is healthy and diverse because there's 54 different ethnic groups. So each region has their specific style of taste, right? Hi guys.
Well,
Thank
that
you
is
for
so
being
much,
Taste of
Kelly. We
Vietnam.
appreciate the whole rundown. But if you want to come down to Taste of Vietnam, it goes until 11 o'clock today. And then tomorrow you can come down again, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. And it's all for a great cause. Lena Bakari, raising awareness against human trafficking. I'll send it back to you for now.
Okay, an important conversation. The food looks great, and I love the traditional Vietnamese garb. And you look great in that, CJ. Thanks so much. Well, it is
See
another
you at the
hot
Taste of Vietnam.
and muggy day in the city. That looks fun.
Yeah, some people were out at Woodbine Beach early this morning. That was before the temperature reached its peak for the day. Now, while the heat warning is still in effect, Environment Canada expects a bit of relief for tomorrow.
It's a relative cool down. We're still expecting temperatures to be in the high 20s with a bit of humidity added on top of that. It'll feel more like the 30s, probably the mid 30s for tomorrow. And we are expecting the heat to return once again in full force for Sunday, probably until at least Tuesday at this time. So it's a very brief, very relative cool down for tomorrow, Saturday, before the heat returns once again.
And we spoke to people this morning about how they are beating this heat.
Gotta come out at 5 a.m. It's the only way. I'm already sweating.
Walking the boardwalk since 5?
Well, I got here around 5:36. So, yeah, it's already getting really hot. So I think it's time to head home after this. And my coffee's melting.
I was in Turkey not too long ago, and it was like 40 degrees there as well. So I was quasi used to it. But this is a good thing to try and keep yourself hydrated so you don't get sick afterwards. It beats the cold, though, so got to enjoy it while we can. We can't complain about it.
Environment Canada is forecasting a high of 29 tomorrow with a humidex of 35. There's also a risk of late-day showers and thunderstorms.
Well, the weekend has several shows coming up at Rogers Centre, prompting the mayor to issue a declaration for the artist's return to his hometown.
And I hope that you still cry for me like I cry for you every night for you.
Mayor Olivia Chow celebrating the Scarborough native by officially declaring this weekend the weekend. And the mayor says that the declaration is about recognizing his cultural impact both at home and globally. And the pop superstar is set to play 4 concerts as part of his After Hours Till Dawn tour. The first goes Sunday night.
It's now 5:13, 29 degrees. You're watching Live at 5.
A new bylaw prevents rent evictions going into effect next week. We're going to hear from Mayor Olivia Chow coming up. A new study by researchers at Sick Kids suggests that Toronto speed cameras are having an impact when it comes to getting drivers to slow down.
It is the second study this week, and for all the findings, let's go live to CP24's Lindsay Biscaya. Lindsay.
Well, yeah, and the authors of the study, Lena and Bakari, say that this shows just how crucial speed cameras are at protecting people, particularly children, because a lot of them are in urban school zone areas. So this study conducted by Sick Kids Hospital as well as Toronto Metropolitan University, and it did find that in areas where speed cameras were, automated speed cameras reduced the number of speeding vehicles by 45%. So basically what happened is researchers looked at 250 locations between July 2020 and December 2022, and they measured the speed of vehicles that were going through those areas before and after the speed cameras were installed. And that's when they found that overall percentage of cars speeding dropped by 45%. What they also found was there was an 88% drop in vehicles that were traveling faster than the speed limit by 20 kilometers an hour. So some pretty astonishing findings here when it shows just how much vehicles would actually slow down if they knew that the speed cameras were in that area. We spoke with Dr. Howard earlier today, lead author of the study, about these findings and what they really mean. Take a listen.
The idea that there are ways of moderating the speed in school zones is huge. And this is just one of the tools that the city has. The other is setting speed limits. The others are some built environment interventions. But they all support each other, and they all give that environment where children can walk to school safely.
And now the authors of this study, Lena and Bakari, did acknowledge the fact that half of this was done during those COVID years when less people were on the roads. But the study also notes that once the cameras were removed, speeding rates returned to pre-intervention levels. So that's an interesting finding. And of course, this all comes at the same time that the city actually doubled the amount of speed cameras that we see around our city. There are now 150 in operation. And of course, as you both mentioned, this also comes as 2 more were vandalized this week. Back to you.
Yeah, everybody's got an opinion about these speed cameras, that's for sure. Lindsay, thanks so much for this. A new Toronto bylaw to prevent run evictions takes effect next week.
As of July 31st, landlords are going to be required to obtain a rental renovation license. That happens before carrying out repairs or renovations that require tenants to move out of their unit. So it'll include a requirement to submit exact renovation plans so that the city can decide if tenants actually need to move. It's designed to prevent bad faith evictions and preserve Toronto's affordable rental housing.
They will have to apply for a building permit anyway, which means that our building department can say, okay, is this really, you need to empty out people, you're changing a sink or you're doing repainting or changing carpet, like, come on. So our building department would be able to know. So the enforcement is quite natural since they have to apply for a building permit anyway.
Bylaws such as this one are emergency measures to address the problem of trying to preserve our existing affordable housing stock. The one solution that could be passed in a day with signature is closing those rent control loopholes, ending the incentive for landlords to act illegally and scrupulously against long-term renters who, through no fault of their own, they're paying affordable rents because they've lived in their community for a number of years. They've sent their kids to the local school. They work in the local community. And they're being threatened with displacement simply because they're paying affordable rent.
And more information about what will soon be required of landlords can be found on the City of Toronto's website.
It's 5:19, 29 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Coming up, we're a week away from the August 1st deadline, and U.S. President Donald Trump says there is still no trade deal with Canada.
OPP say that a 3-year-old child is drowned at Sandbanks Provincial Park.
Police were called to the popular park on Prince Edward County around 5:30 p.m. yesterday after the toddler went missing while playing with family in shallow water. Bystanders found the child before emergency crews arrived. Police say first responders attempted life-saving efforts, but the child was pronounced dead. This is the 3rd drowning in Prince Edward County in days and comes during National Drowning Prevention Week. OPP say the number of drownings in Eastern Ontario this year is more than double what it was by this time last year.
Well, the case against a Montreal man accused of killing his daughter in New York State, it is moving directly to the grand jury stage. Luciano
Fritolin was scheduled to make a court appearance today, but the hearing was canceled as the grand jury will now assess the prosecution's evidence. Fritolin has pleaded not guilty to second-degree murder in the death of his 9-year-old daughter, Melina. Police allege he reported her missing and potentially abducted while they were on vacation, but officers determined the story to be false. Her body was found in a pond last weekend.
Well, 3 workers trapped in a remote northern BC mine, they are being reunited with their families today. This is after being trapped for more than 60 hours underground.
Yeah, the trio safely brought to the surface late last night in good health and good spirit. They were trapped by 2 rock falls Tuesday morning and sought refuge in safety chamber. Drones and a remote-controlled scoop were used to reach the 3 who were trapped more than a quarter of a kilometer underground. And the head of safety for the mining company says the rescue went exactly as it should have.
Upon reaching the refuge chamber, the team found Kevin, Darian, and Jesse in stable condition. Together with the emergency response team, they returned to surface using the same protected equipment. Their arrival to surface at approximately 10:40 was a moment of relief and resolve for everyone involved.
The mine's located about 500 kilometers northwest of Terrace, BC.
Well, exactly a week away from that self-imposed August 1st trade deadline, Donald Trump says he really hasn't focused much on getting a deal done with Canada.
Yeah, the U.S. president made the remarks as he was about to leave for Scotland. And Trump told reporters that he hadn't had a lot of luck with Canada when it comes to trade negotiations. The U.S. leader had previously said he'll slap 35% tariffs on some Canadian goods if the two countries cannot strike a deal by August 1st.
We haven't really had a lot of luck with Canada. I think Canada could be one where they'll just pay tariffs, not really a negotiation.
Canada-U.S. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc is also downplaying the possibility of a deal by the deadline. This after his meeting with top Trump trade officials yesterday in Washington.
It's 5:24, 29 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Coming up, the Toronto Blue Jays have the best record in the American League. We're going to have more on this story coming up next. Welcome back. The Blue Jays now have the best record in the American League after a big win in Detroit last night.
Well hit ball to deep left, and he made him pay.
The Jays came out swinging in this one with 15 hits. So they broke the game open with 5 runs in the 6th inning. They cruised to an 11-4 victory. Now, with the win, the Jays now sit alone in first place in the American League after Houston lost to the Athletics yesterday. And Toronto is second overall, just a half game back from the Milwaukee Brewers. Jose Barrios is taking the mound for the Jays tonight in Detroit.
Well, the National Bank Open men's tournament begins in Toronto tomorrow.
The National Bank Open is the only ATP Tour and WTA Tour event in Canada. This year's tournament features an expanded 12-day, 96-player format. Canadian tennis stars to watch for. In Toronto, they include Felix Auger-Aliassime, who is the highest-ranked Canadian in the ATP Tour standings at 27th. Richmond Hill's Denis Shapovalov is 28th. The women's tournament also begins in Montreal. That's tomorrow.
5:28, 29 degrees. You're watching Live at 5.
And here's a live look at Nathan Phillips Square. This is where the Taste of Vietnam is underway. We're going to take a look at what else is happening this weekend coming up. Yeah, imagine hearing that sound outside of your home for nearly 4 years. We have more tonight on frustrated West Enders who they say that they've had to put up with honking TTC buses.
Toronto's controversial speed cameras back in the spotlight today with another study suggesting the tools have reduced speeding by almost half. We're going to take a look at the numbers.
And CP24 is live at the Taste of Vietnam. It's happening in Nathan Phillips Square. Well, it's also another scorcher out there. A heat warning is still in place, but cooler temps are on the way. We're going to get you ready for the weekend.
That looks delicious. You're watching Live at 5. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Lena Latifat.
I'm Bakari Savage. Muggy weather, it is continuing to grip the GTA as we head into what's going to be another busy weekend in the city.
For more on some of the events happening around town and the conditions you're going to have to contend with, let's go live to CP24's Sija Liu, who's checking out the Taste of Vietnam at Nathan Phillips Square. Sija.
Yeah, it really does feel like you're in Vietnam today with the heat, but you don't have to travel far to feel like you are in the streets of Saigon. Well, I am here at the food market area. These are vendors, some of them food that you can only eat once a year. There are over 50 different tribes in Vietnam, so a lot of these foods will be very unique, very diverse. And right now I'm at this stand, Bang Bao, with some traditional Vietnamese food. I'm joined by Josie, the owner here. Josie, show us what you're making here. What is the specialty?
Hi, we have the handmade yu baos. So this is the steam buns. We stop by the fusionings like food inside. We have mushroom, we have fried spice, we have chicken, we have beef. So the one is the fusioning food.
Yeah, I love how fresh and steamy everything looks. So make one for us. What is your specialty?
So our signature is like the fried spice bao, which is like the braised pork belly, which is like original from Taiwan. So very good. So we infuse this by Vietnamese and then Taiwanese, and then it's gonna be 5 spice.
I love that. So you have been coming to this festival for 2 years now.
Yes.
Tell us, what was last year like? What has it usually been like so far this year?
So far, everything is good. The energy, everything is still the same. Even hotter than this year's.
Yeah.
And I see people come here more and more. I think I can feel the face mode of the festival this year.
Yeah. So you're actually open year-round, but how important is it to you to have a festival like this to bring people who might have never tried Vietnamese food or the baos that you offer?
Okay, so I really like to come to festivals, so where we can introduce more people to our food, like get instant feedback, feel the energies, like how people feel right away. So we love that. Yes.
Yeah, I love that. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate
you.
it. And just show you around a little bit more here. He's just putting the final finishing touches on this bao. Wow, doesn't that look absolutely delicious? A lot of these foods, they only are here once a year, but they are from tribes all across the country. But on top of the food, thank you so much. It looks absolutely delicious. On top of all the food that you can get here, also performances. So we have some drummers getting ready up there. There will be a fashion show tonight. But this is all for a great cause as well. The charity behind this festival is called Better Future for Kids. And what they're doing is fighting against human trafficking and sexual exploitation. In fact, a lot of these outfits that people are wearing, including this one I'm wearing right now, is from one of the tribes in Vietnam, one of the ethnic groups where they help a lot of the children there. So a lot of great causes when you're coming down here to grab a great bite. It is hot, though, with that heat warning still in effect, but tons to see and do. The festival runs until 11 o'clock tonight, and again tomorrow from 11 in the morning until 11 at night. I'll send it back to you for now.
Okay, we're going to let you take a bite of that because that looks too good. CJ Liu reporting live from Nathan Phillips Square. Thanks so much, CJ. And Koreatown Festival is back for its second year.
And Korean culture is going to be celebrated along Bloor between Crawford and Markham Streets tomorrow. It'll highlight Korean traditions, including cuisine, music, and art. Koreatown BIH. Jason Lee stopped by CP24 today to give us a preview of what to expect, including showcasing some Korean barbecue.
There's cultural events, cultural acts, musical acts, so many things for kids. These little cool stickers that we made, we're giving them out. We're also giving away some free kimchi samples. My wife and I will be doing kimchi making demonstrations twice throughout the day.
Wow.
We'll have some amazing acts, and just, again, it's free for everyone, and it's just an honor to be a part of this.
So lots going on this weekend. Koreatown Fest runs from 1 to 9 p.m. tomorrow.
Well, of course, it's another hot and muggy day in the city, just in case you didn't go outside yet.
Yeah, seriously. Some people were out at Woodbine Beach early this morning before the temperature reached its peak for the day. And while that heat warning is still in effect for now, Environment Canada expects a bit of relief tomorrow before the heat and humidity ramp up again Sunday. Forecasters are also looking ahead to next month. And we're in the closing days of July, but Environment Canada says we shouldn't expect to leave the warmer than usual weather behind next month either.
We are expecting August to be warmer than normal, just as July and June have been. So unfortunately, for those who are particularly susceptible to heat, it doesn't look like there will be much reprieve through August.
We had a chance to talk to people today about how they are dealing with the heat. Here's what we heard.
It's like walking through a bowl of soup this morning. I just can't wait to get home and cool off again.
What kind of soup?
Pea soup, like fog, but without the fog. Just thick. It just hits you. You're pushing your way through it.
Oh, that's why I'm wearing all white, to make sure to stay cool. Yeah, I love summer because the winter in Canada is so long. So this just is perfect.
And just to put things into perspective, it's 29 degrees out there right now, currently feeling more like 36. Environment Canada is forecasting a high of 29 tomorrow with a humidex of 35. So similar conditions, and there is a risk of late day showers and thunderstorms on Sunday.
Well, the heat in the city, it's not stopping those from heading to the Beaches Jazz Street Fest. It's happening on Queen Street East.
The annual Street Fest portion of the festival is on again tonight and tomorrow, Saturday. Along with a wide range of music, there are food trucks and lots of vendors. Street Fest runs on Queen between Woodbine and Beach Avenue from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. rather.
Well, the weekend has several shows coming up at Rogers Center, prompting the mayor to issue a declaration for the artist's return to his hometown.
And I hope that you still cry for me like I cry for you every night for you.
All right, Mayor Olivia Chow celebrating the Scarborough native by officially declaring this weekend the weekend. The mayor says the declaration's about recognizing his cultural impact both at home and globally. The pop superstar is set to play 4 concerts as part of his After Hours Till Dawn tour. The first goes on Sunday night.
And a number of shutdowns and early closures for TTC riders to deal with this weekend.
Service on Line 1 between St. George and St. Andrew will end at 11 o'clock tonight. Shuttle buses will be running, but the closure is going to stay in place through the weekend due to planned station work. There's also a full-day closure tomorrow on Line 2 between Kipling and Keele. And on Sunday, there's a late opening to be aware of with service between St. George and Broadview not starting until 11 a.m.
Well, speaking of the TTC, there's a feature on TTC buses which appears to be to blame for noise that some people who live near Kipling Station say is driving them to distraction.
Yeah, for more on what is responsible for all of this, let's go live to CP24's Arda Zakarian. Arda.
Lena, it's your favorite sound. I'm about to play it very soon. But first, before I play it, I'm going to tell you why this sound happens in the first place. So I'm standing here at Kipling Station. I've been talking to people who say, yeah, they've heard this before. And they've heard it multiple times, and it is bothering them. So what's the sound I'm talking about? When the bus comes to a stop, idles actually, and there's people on the bus, and the bus driver gets out, maybe goes to the washroom, somebody presses the stop request button or ding, pulls on the lever, then the bus starts honking nonstop for 3 to 4 minutes. Let's play it.
Now, when you're sitting in bed on your day off, and this happens outside your window, it's very distracting, right? Like, you might be sitting there trying to enjoy a book. You might be sitting there on your phone. You might be watching TV. And then this starts happening, and it's as if there's nothing else you can focus on.
And if you have a headache, forget it. You know, that's about to get worse. So I spoke to some people about their experience hearing the noise. Here's a little bit more from them.
So the bus horns goes always. And that's pretty much it. I come here sometimes for work, and I've heard the bus go off. That's it.
Does this affect you? The sound affect you in any way?
It's a bit annoying sometimes, but yeah, I always carry my earphones, so not really.
How long does it go off for?
It comes like in between, intermittently. So it's not that annoying, but it is a bit annoying.
Lots of noises here at Kipling Station. I think that's something backing up. Anyway, so the TTC did have a statement saying they responded to this and says, we apologize to the neighbors for this inconvenience. This is a feature of the buses that's intended for safety. We are aware that sometimes they go off, and we've been reminding operators about disarming the feature whenever possible to do so. We will continue to remind them to disable the alarms out of respect to the community. And we've been talking a lot about noise in the city and different kinds of noise that bothers people, some that doesn't. Some people say that, hey, it's all a part of living in a major metropolis like Toronto. Back to you.
We're talking about one's headache becoming worse after listening to that sound. I feel like I have a headache, and I've only been listening for like a couple of seconds. That's hard to ignore.
I know. You can only imagine if you're in person, how bad it is.
Exactly. All right. Arda Zakarian reporting live from the West End tonight. That is annoying. Thanks, Arda. It is 5:42, 29 degrees, and you're watching Live at 5.
A new bylaw to prevent rent evictions goes into effect next week. We're going to hear from Toronto Mayor Olivia Chow coming up.
Welcome back to Live at 5. Let's take a look at some other headlines we're following for you tonight. An early morning at a car dealership in Etobicoke an early morning fire, is under investigation.
Yeah, firefighters were called to Dundas Street, just east of the 427, around 5:30 this morning. So Toronto Fire says one vehicle was engulfed in flames. 2 others also caught fire. The flames were quickly put out. There were no injuries.
Well, a new study by researchers at Sick Kids suggests Toronto's speed cameras, they are working and that they're having an impact when it comes to getting drivers to actually slow down. It's the second study this week.
And for the details, let's go live to CP24's Lindsay Biscaya. Lindsay.
Yeah, and when you talk about getting drivers to actually slow down, what researchers say these findings show is that if they can get drivers to slow down, then that reduces the risk of injuries or even deaths related to collisions on roads. So this study was conducted by Sick Kids Hospital as well as Toronto Metropolitan University. And the findings are really interesting. It finds that automated speed cameras actually reduce the number of speeding vehicles by 45%. These cameras were mostly set up in urban school zones and communities. Researchers looked at 250 different locations between July of 2020 and December of 2022 and measured speed of vehicles going around in those areas before the speed cameras were installed as well as after the speed cameras went up. That's when they found that that overall drop of speeding cars by 45%. There was also an 88% drop in vehicles that were traveling faster than the speed limit by 20 kilometers an hour. So overall, a lot of cars slowed down in areas with speed cameras. And we've been speaking with some of the authors of this study, talking about the significance of these findings. Take a listen.
The bottom line is we know these work, and we know that people are speeding, and we know that it's been talked about everywhere across the media. People are hearing about it all the time. So people must just recognize that they need to slow down. If they're doing speeding over and over and over again, there's no recognition that their behavior is creating a lot of carnage on the streets.
Now, there's a lot of conversation and controversy around speed cameras. Lena and Bakari, I don't have to tell you two that. We've had it in the news a lot. It's been a discussion at City Hall. So the City of Toronto has also increased the number of speed cameras around the city. Now there's 150, but we've also seen 2 more vandalized this week. One last thing I'll note is that this study found that once the speed cameras were taken down, cars started speeding again in those areas. So the study, at least authors of the studies say that the findings show that speed cameras do in fact help when it comes to vehicles slowing down. Back to you.
Some interesting data.
Yeah. Okay. CP24's Lindsay Biscaya. Thanks, Lindsay. Well, a new Toronto bylaw to prevent rent eviction takes effect next week.
As of July 31st, landlords will be required to obtain a rental renovation license before carrying out repairs or renovations that require tenants to move out of their units. It'll include a requirement to submit exact renovation plans. This is so the city can decide if tenants actually need to move. It's designed to prevent bad faith evictions and preserve Toronto's affordable rental housing.
There'll be no problem if the renovation is very extensive and it requires the housing stocks to be emptied. But we know that some renovations may not need to be, that the units doesn't have to be emptied. And for many tenants, this renovation bylaw will prevent them from being wrongfully, illegally evicted from their homes. And if the landlord must empty the units, proper notice must be given, and there has to be temporary accommodation or compensation.
We have constantly heard story after story of people being unlawfully, illegally, unduly evicted due to no fault of their own. That these people deserve stability, these people deserve security. To know that their actions, their efforts can be rewarded with prosperity, with a place that they can call home.
And more information about what will soon be required of landlords can be found on the City of Toronto's website.
Well, City Council has voted in favor of establishing a color-coded system for the state of apartment buildings, much like the system used in restaurants.
Yeah, the motion was put forward by Councillor Josh Matlow. It'll see green, yellow, or red signs posted near the entrance of the building. The reds for serious health and safety violations, Yellow for minor infractions. Green means that the building's in good repair. A similar motion failed in 2020 as landlords claimed the signs would stigmatize tenants. But Matlow and other counselors argued that the system will give tenants and prospective renters critical information. Well, staff will now work on an implementation plan and report back to City Council in 2026.
It's 5:49, 29 degrees. This is Live at 5.
And coming up, 3 workers trapped in a remote northern BC mine have been rescued.
Welcome back, and heads up if you plan on catching a Via train between Toronto and Windsor today.
A freight train derailment near Paris, Ontario is impacting some service along that Toronto to Windsor corridor. Via has been forced to cancel some afternoon routes or use alternate tracks to get around the derailment area. Via says that affected passengers are going to be informed directly of any changes. CN Rail says about 24 rail cars and a locomotive derailed, but no injuries are reported.
3 workers trapped in a remote northern BC mine are being reunited with their families today after being trapped for more than 60 hours underground.
Yeah, the trio was safely brought to the surface late last night in good health and good spirit. They were trapped by 2 rock falls Tuesday morning. They sought refuge in a safety chamber. Drones and a remote control scoop they were used to reach the 3 who were trapped more than a quarter of a kilometer underground. And the head of security for the mining company revealed what the 3 said as soon as they were found.
Well, they said they actually had a good sleep and they could catch up on sleep. So that's what they said in the bay. But you know, that what was just absolutely fantastic, and I want to reemphasize, these 3 stayed with the protocols, as I stated yesterday. They stayed exactly where they were supposed to. They parked the vehicle that they were in exactly the same place that they should have. So just following those rules just showed what the end result was.
And that mine is located about 500 kilometers northwest of Terrace, British Columbia.
It's 5:54, 29 degrees. This is Live at 5.
NBA champion and MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going to be in Toronto this weekend. We're going to tell you why coming up next. Much Music fans can now relive the station's glory days.
Much Rewind has launched on YouTube as an archive of Much Music's celebrity interviews. So each weekday, a new digitally restored interview is going to be pulled from the vault and uploaded. So far, fans can watch VJs sit down with Missy Elliott, Christina Aguilera, Eminem, and Noel Gallagher. Shorter clips from some interviews are also going to be posted to Instagram and TikTok.
What a throwback. Well, reigning NBA champion and most valuable player Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is hosting a camp in Toronto. It's happening this weekend, and it's aimed at inspiring and mentoring the next generation of Canadian basketball players and youth.
The No Flukes event is going to be held at the University of Toronto's Goldman Centre on Sunday. SGA and his cousin, fellow NBA player Nickeil Alexander-Walker, they're going to lead the camp alongside NBA Hall of Famer Allen Iverson. And the kids are going to get a chance to bond and learn from SGA and also try to take down the MVP in a three-point shootout. There will also be a scholarship giveaway, Raptors merch, autographs, and more. Today, we had a chance to speak with SGA's father and founder of the No Flukes Foundation, Mr. Vaughn Alexander.
You got to have a solid foundation to begin with, right? And you got to be telling your kids from an earlier age that, you know, number one, build the confidence in them. You love them. You're amazing. You're great. So all of a sudden, your kids are just naturally confident and believe and comfortable in their own skin to begin with. And then it's the discipline. It's the routine. It's the repetition. It's what you're actually instilling in them. And you can teach your kid to be, I don't know, a magician if you're teaching him all these magician tricks from such a young age. And by the time he's 7, he's pulling rabbits out the hat. But if you don't instill all these things from early, you can't bend the tree too late, so to speak, right? So it's about repetition, starting early, being consistent. Obviously, our whole life is consistent, and that's how we set our trends are.
And the No Flukes camp is free for kids 14 and under. It all gets underway Sunday morning at 10 o'clock, and you can find more information at noflukes.com. You did that interview. You sat down with Shai's dad. I'm sure he must be so proud.
Yeah, he's a really cool guy, and, he was really, this is something that's very, very close to him, especially the mentoring process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, it is 5:59, 29 degrees. This is Toronto's breaking news, CP24.
A live look at the Taste of Vietnam inside Nathan Phillips Square. Thank you for watching CTV News.